Sequester. As you know by now, by the flaming ruins of American cities on our television screens every night, this radical, economy-destroying, cruel, and insane 2.3% cut in the rate of the growth of government spending has made it impossible to refuel our aircraft carriers, forced the shutdown of some 300 FAA air traffic control towers, Easter egg hunts, and White House tours for children have been eliminated, as every single gram of federal fat is sliced to the very bone. And according to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, Marines are dying in training accidents since we no longer have the money to train them safely. How do we know how serious these critical cuts in the federal spending really are? Well, Drudge has a heartbreaking headline. You know, it's a lot of work destroying the most powerful economy and military on the face of the earth. And while the presidential vacations get a lot of attention, what I really wanted to talk about was how devastating these catastrophic sequester cuts of 2.3% in the rate of growth are to regular guys. Regular guys like Joe Biden, who had a hotel tab of, about $500,000 of your dollars, followed by another hotel tab of only $400,000 or so, followed by a limo tab of only $300,000 or so. So you can see how this austerity is really beginning to bite. Now, joining me now to commiserate with these draconian cuts to the meager perks of our humble public servants are Steve Green and Scott Ott. Gentlemen, not too much to say about this that doesn't get said with those headlines, so let's just cut to the chase. Steve, Easter egg hunts are in danger, White House tours are in danger, control towers are being shut down. Now Biden, who is Vice President of the United States, should in fact stay at the best hotel in the city, but I'm not sure that, 133 of his staffers have to stay in that same best hotel as well? Those people can stay at La Motel Sies until after we refuel our aircraft carriers.
No, Bill. In all fairness to the Vice President and his massive entourage, this is a goodwill tour and worth every penny. The French love Joe Biden for much the same reason and in the exact same way that they love Jerry Lewis.
Yes, I knew it was coming.
And love eating tripe and covering up the smell of third-rate spoiled beef with a fancy wine sauce. But budgeting is the process of prioritizing, and we've been shown quite clearly that Washington's priority is Washington, that they will gladly bleed the country dry, shut down the airports, call off the Easter egg hunts, tie up aircraft carriers by port side, just to send Joe Biden on an all-expense paid trip to see the very best Paris and London have to offer. You know, what they're really saying to us in Washington is a very short phrase I can't repeat on a family network. And I won't even spell it for you, but you know what it is.
There are several that apply. Scott, you know, our good friend and blog father, Glenn Reynolds, who's really responsible for all three of us being here, frankly, will continuously say the same awesome line every single time he reports on movie stars flying corporate jets to attend global warming summits. Namely, I'll believe it's a crisis when they start acting like it's a crisis. It's kind of it in a nutshell, isn't it, with the sequester?
Well, I think there are parts of this story that are going untold. For example, part of the tremendous expense of Joe Biden's trip to London and then to Paris was the fact that, first of all, they got off to a late start and the planes and everything had to stay burning fuel on the runway while they were waiting because the vice president actually got lost in the White House, and there are no White House tour people anymore to show him the way. So it took them a long time just to get out of the White House, first of all. And then when they finally took off, the plane actually initially went to New London, Connecticut, rather than London, England, because the air traffic controllers were no longer available. And then they had to go through Paris, Texas, so it completely threw things off. This would have been a totally reasonable trip if it hadn't been for the cutbacks, frankly. And plus, you know, Biden himself was the guy who was tasked with scattering the eggs on the White House lawn, and so that was another delay. There are good explanations for all of this.
See, that's what happens. That's what happens when we're penny wise and pound foolish. Well, folks, as I said in my last afterburner, the President of the United States, his power and money-mad cohorts like Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, and all aided and abetted by the audiovisual department of the Democratic Party, formerly known as the Free Press, are determined to hurt the American people over this sequester. Hurt them. Take away control towers so that planes crash, so that they can spend without a budget or without a limit. Take away White House tours so kids who've been looking forward to their Washington trip for a year can go home heartbroken, preferably on national television. Hurt the people, hurt the people, hurt the people. And meanwhile, live like Louis XIV on the people's dime. You know, these people will eventually leave office, and it's even conceivable that the damage they have done may someday be repaired, but the stain they leave on their respective offices will never go away. They are quite simply the worst political class in American history. And you have to go back to Rome to find their equal, and we may have to go back to Rome to find the consequences, unless we get very, very lucky. For PJTV, I'm Bill Woodall.